How the hell is it the middle of the year already? I feel like the beginning of 2020 took 17 years. Like January was the longest year ever. And then like the rest of this year has flown by. Probably because we've all been stuck in quarantine. It's just the weirdest year ever. And hopefully the second half is gonna be much more chill. Because I don't know how much more chaos I can take. I'm Jessie, and today I am doing one of my favorite videos to binge watch every year. And this is my first year actually doing it, and that is the mid-year freakout tag, where we talk about everything that has happened in our bookish lives up to this point of the year. And y'all, I got some stuffs to talk about. So we're just gonna jump in with all the questions, and y'all know I'm just gonna read them off my phone because I never ever can like remember them. So we're rolling with it. That's just how my life is. The first question is the best book you've read so far in 2020. This was a hard one because I've read some really good books that I have just like absolutely adored, but probably one of my absolute favorites that I have read this year so far is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Y'all, this is so good, and I'm actually like rereading it with like the storm along, and then I have a buddy read that I'm doing with it like all at one time. So this is just so good, and yes, I'm rereading it. I already read it at the beginning of the year, and I'm rereading it again with Storm along in preparation to read the rest of the Stormlight Archives in preparation for the next book that's coming out. All right, the next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020, and that unquestionably goes to The Jagged Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the second book in the Poppy Wars series, and y'all, this ripped my soul out and set it on fire and stomped on it and then put it back together and then crushed it again. Like, that is the best way I could describe this book. It is an Asian military inspired fantasy very adult novel, and just, if you haven't read The Poppy Wars, I cannot stop harping about this and telling you how amazing it is and how much I just want everyone to read this because it's just a favorite of mine, and I just want to see more people read it because the third book is coming out at the end of this year, and we just all need to read it. Just if you do pick up The Poppy War, just be warned. There is a trigger warning for absolutely everything imaginable. It's war. There is torture, sexual assault, mutilation, death, drug abuse, self-harm. There are trigger warnings for literally everything, so be aware of that before you go in. But this book is so good. Definitely my favorite sequel so far of the year. All right, the next question is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. And I actually have a couple of these, but the one that I'm going to show you is one that I actually have physically, and that is Heart of Flames by Nikki Palpretto. This is the second book in the Crown of Feathers series, and I picked this up recently. I really want to get to it because I love the first book. So I'm really excited to read this one, hopefully soon, before the end of the year, because it's just, I loved the first one. It is about this girl who wants nothing more than to be a Phoenix Rider, but only men are Phoenix Riders at this point in time. So she pretends to be a boy basically so she can get in with these Phoenix Riders, and then there's a bunch of like family drama with her sister. And it's just so good. So I'm really excited to read the second one very soon. The next question is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I got two. We're going with The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, which is the third book in the Poppy War series. Y'all, I can't wait to see how this concludes because this is a trilogy. So this will be the concluding book. And if it is anything like the first two, it is only going to get better. and it's going to crush me, and I'm going to love every minute of it. And the other book that I'm super excited for is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Could you have guessed? If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know I am a sucker for Sanderson, and I'm working through the Stormlight Archives right now, and I want to be able to, for one, get to Rhythm of War when it comes out, because I'm trying to work my way through the other books so I can get to it, and I'm just super excited. This is not going to be like the conclusion to the series. From what I hear, the Stormlight Archives is going to be a 10-book series, but it's going to span 2 different complete arcs. So the first arc is going to be 5 books, and then the second half is going to be 5 more books. So this is the second to last in the first arc of the Stormlight Archives. That wasn't confusing at all, now was it? The next question is the biggest disappointment of the year so far. And I mean, if we're talking books, we're just gonna keep it on books, not life. We're gonna go with The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I hated it. I went in wanting to love it because it had so much hype and so many people loved it. And I was like, yes, it's gonna be super exciting and enemies to lovers and I love this. And oh my God, it was garbage. Hot, flaming garbage. And I am sorry if you like it. I just didn't. And if you want my full thoughts on why I think that The Cruel Prince is a dumpster fire, I did a reading vlog and I did a entire rant review on it, so you can see all my full rambly thoughts about why this book was terrible. The next question is your biggest surprise, and for me that is The Wicked Fox by Picacho. I went in wanting to like it, but with low expectations because this had super mixed reviews and it's also like romance heavy, which is not something I normally love. And it also said it was like inspired by K-dramas, and I don't watch K-dramas, like I've never seen one. So I just wasn't sure what I was going to think about this, because it sounds like something I would like, but then it sounds like something that's completely outside of my zone. And I ended up really loving this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. The romance was well done, and while it was like a big part of this book, it wasn't like cheesy and weird, and like it was just well done, and the fantasy aspects were really well done. I loved that it was set in Seoul. And yeah, I thought it was really fun, and I'm excited to read the second book when it comes out, because yeah, this was definitely a big surprise in a good way. All right, the next question is favorite new author. This could either be a debut or a new to you author, and for me, that is going to be, dun dun dun, no surprise, R.F. Wong, who is, this book didn't debut this year, so she's not a debut author, but this is her debut series. So that counts, right? And she's also new to me. And y'all have heard me talk about how much I love the Poppy War and the Jagged Republic, and this just how excited I am for Burning God. I honestly think that R.F. Wong has become like an auto-buy author, and as soon as she releases anything new, I'm just gonna pick it up. Like, she's up there with Sanderson status for me right now, and that's pretty top tier. All right, the next question we have is newest fictional crush. And that is Adrian from the Renegades series. Y'all, he is just a sweet cinnamon roll with like a little bit of spice to him, and he's just this adorable, really wants to be this amazing superhero, doesn't think his own powers are good enough, so he tries to improve himself, and he's always like second guessing himself how good he is, but he really is amazing. And he's just so sweet to Nova, and it's just, there's just something about this boy that is just absolutely adorable to me. Like, he's got that nerdy aspect to him, and I mean, if you've seen my husband, like, he's a big old nerd. like, I got a thing for tall, scrawny nerds. Like, what can I say? But yes, Adrian from the Renegades is just my newest fictional crush. The next question is your newest favorite character. And that, hands down, is Kate from the Poppy War series. He is the best. He is my absolute favorite character in the entire series. He's like the sweet little cinnamon roll to start with, and then shit happens and he kind of goes a little bit more morally gray and but he doesn't lose that sweetness and his love for his friends and his support of Ren, and it's just so good. And then everything that he does in the Jagged Republic just makes me love him so much more. Like, oh, his character development in the second book, it's just beautiful. And his sacrifices, and just, read it, please. Book that made you cry. I don't have my copy of it because I lent it to a friend, but The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes made me cry. I know that this book was like super hyped, but then it had like super like mixed reviews. Like, people either loved it or hated it. I am in the loved it camp. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I gave it 4 stars. There's some things that I would have liked to have seen done differently, but I enjoyed myself, and I rate based on my enjoyment, and I enjoyed it. But there were moments that were so sad and it made me cry. So Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes made me cry. Book that made you happy. And this is one that I actually just finished. As King of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This book cracked me up. Like, it had so much heart and soul and so many funny moments. And I mean, I tabbed the hell out of it with like things that made me laugh. I don't even know how to explain this book. Somebody explained it best when they said it's the fantasy version of Spinal Tap, which totally, it's this high fantasy book where mercenaries are treated like rock bands, and this retired mercenary band ends up getting the band back together and going on one last tour to save one of the members' daughters. And as you can imagine, they are not in their prime. They are middle-aged men complaining of back problems and cracking knees, and they're still out there kicking ass while complaining about, gaining weight and thinning hair. And it's hysterical, but it also has so much heart, such good action. This is probably one of my new favorite books. I'm excited to read the second one. And yeah, this book just made me happy. All right, the next one is the most beautiful book you have bought or received so far this year. And we're gonna go with one that I bought myself, and y'all might not agree with me, but I don't care. And that is the hardback American editions of the Mistborn series. Specifically, this is the Final Empire. I got them all, but this one is my favorite out of the 3. I know so many people like the UK editions better, and they are gorgeous, but there is something about these specific American editions that I just fell in love with, and I had to have. Like, they're stunning. And the Mistborn has had like so many different covers and so many different changes over the years. Like, there's some that are like absolutely terrible. Like the YA-ish attempt cover, not a fan. And then there's like the mass markets, and it's just, there's so many of them, but there's something about this series of covers for this series. Like, we'll pick those, but like, let me show you the others. Then we've got Well of Ascension. Like, it's beautiful. Y'all know this is beautiful. Don't argue with me. And Hero of Ages is also stunning in this edition. So, to me, these are the prettiest books I've bought this year. All right, and the final question is, name some books that you have to finish by the end of the year. And I've got 3. The first one is The Dragon Reborn. It's the third book in the Wheel of Time series. I'm hoping to get through this and at least one or two more by the end of the year, but especially at least the third one, because I really just want to get as far into the series as I can before the show comes out. Another one that I want to finish is Supernova. This is the third book in the Renegade series. I've finished Arch Enemies last month, and I'm really bad about finishing series, so I'm trying to be better and finish the Renegades trilogy before the end of the year. And finally, this big old mammer jammer, Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. Like I said, I'm doing the Storm along, so hopefully I will be finishing this along with Oathbringer and getting into Rhythm of War when it comes out. But I am definitely finishing Words of Radiance before the end of the year. She thick, she thickin', but we like them thick over here. We are down with the thickness, and we're gonna get through it. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this mid-year freakout tag. If you do it, I would love to see it. It's so much fun. It's just a really cool way to kind of recap the year so far. So I look forward to seeing yours. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I will see you next time. Bye.